Hello. Welcome everyone to our training today. Tracy and I are going to be on today and tomorrow, both at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And the training will go for about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. We'll see what arises in the moment. But thank you for joining us. Also, be gentle with us. This is our first time being on a live with two people, so we're going to be kind of playing some things out of what that looks like. So, but be gentle with us if it feels weird at times. So give us 1 second. We're just going to share this with our other pages and groups. But as we are doing that, just take a moment to allow yourself to just start landing here, wherever you are, whether you're in your car or whether you're at home, but just allow yourself to start grounding.
A great way to do that is with your breath. So take some really deep breaths, and you can breathe all the way down to your root chakra, which is right below your spine. And if you like to visualize, you can just visualize the root chakra is red and glowing and bright and radiant, and just take a few nice breaths all the way down there. Another great way of really grounding is also fully inviting in your energy. So you can just imagine that throughout our life, our energy gets scattered, and with our intention, we can call back in our energy, and that fills us up more with our own power. So that's good for grounding and good for being present and filling up with your power.
So, hey Mondi, hey Dana, welcome. So as she's sharing, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I am Carrie Borcherding, and I've been a psychotherapist for over 10 years, but have kind of shifted my practice, and I'm doing much more spiritual and personal development work with my clients with this idea and intention of really helping empower women to step into connecting with their higher self, to really be in themselves and not so much outside and wanting to give all the time and wanting to expel energy all the time, but really tapping into your own life force so that you can start rising up and being really connected to this higher level of consciousness that many of you are feeling going on right now. And so this training is all about that. Hey Danielle, this training is really for women who are feeling this desire to rise up and feeling this ascension process that's happening right now and wanting to tap into this higher level of consciousness. And at the same time, when that is happening, when we are really wanting to rise up, really wanting to feel our own voices, and even come out in conflict, have harder and deeper conversations with your partners or friends, that takes stepping into fear. It takes stepping into, it takes stepping out of your comfort zone. And so today, Tracy and I are going to give you some practices that are going to allow you to start staying grounded and staying connected to yourself and staying connected to your future self, your most powerful self, your higher self, even when you are in fear. And how do you do that even when you're feeling anxious, even when you're feeling fearful, and still be able to stay connected to your body? So I'm going to let Tracy introduce herself really quick to you, and then we will get started with the practices.
Hello, I'm Tracy Schulsinger, and I'm a shamanic practitioner. I've been practicing shamanism for 11 years, and I'm super passionate about it because of how it's transformed my life and other people's lives, people I work with, people I teach, in so many beautiful, beautiful ways. So I'm going to be sharing some practices. And with shamanism, there's teachings and then there's experiences. And when you experience it for yourself, that makes the most impact. So when we're sharing today, we're both going to be sharing experiences so you can feel how you connect with this and how this affects your energy. And I'm excited you're here, and I'm excited to be sharing this so that you can hear more about what's going to be happening on our retreat, Ignite Your Soul.
Awesome. Thank you. So the way that Tracy and I met was all through this idea of alignment and connecting to higher self, because I wanted to have a shamanic practitioner on my retreat. And if I would have just been in that place of like trying to figure it out, who do I get, where do I find them, if I would have been in that energy kind of outside of myself, I actually probably never would have met her. And the way that I met her was just purely through alignment and not being attached to the idea of having a shamanic practitioner at my retreat, but just being open and inviting that intention in, and then allowing that process to happen. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Some of you I know have heard that story, but we'll share a little bit more about that later. But my guess is that if you are on here, you are a woman. There may be men on here too. It works for you too. But mostly women, and the retreat is for women. But the people that are on here and the women that are on here are most likely women who have been on a spiritual path or personal development path for a while and really have this desire to tap into all that is available to you. Not just your own power, your own willpower, your own sense of drive, but to start living more in this sense of ease and being able to use your higher self, be connected to your guides and use the support of your guides to not have to work so damn hard, to not have to push away from the things that you don't want, and be in drive mode all of the time. And so you are most likely really wanting to tap into this higher level of consciousness. And again, if you're just coming on, when we start wanting to tap into that higher level of consciousness, we have to step through a bit of fear first, because it is asking us to rise up and share our voices more and be bigger and have bigger impact. Like this, just being connected to the retreat, Tracy has started to come out more and get on Facebook Lives for the first time. And so it's asking us, our higher self is calling us to be bigger, to be more of ourselves. And in that, we have to kind of step through the discomfort and step into a little bit of the fear. And so I want you to even just think about, like, bring to mind something in your life right now that you're wanting to step more into, whether that's speaking on stage, whether that's starting a business, whether that's having harder or deeper conversations with the people in your life, being a better mom. Just bring something to mind that's causing that brings up some of that fear, that brings up some of that rub, that anxiety, that makes you that kind of makes you want to put the brakes on and be like, I don't know if I can do this. And as you do that, just notice what happens in your body. Notice what your kind of go-to habit is when you start to bring up some of that like anxiety or fear of stepping more out, having a bigger impact, having harder conversations. And drop that in the comments as you think of some of the sensations or emotions that brings up.
I can tell you that I just experienced like a tightness in my heart.
Yes.
I felt like my heart just went, and then I also felt like, oh, maybe I'll just delay that a little longer. I think putting things off.
Yes. How many of you put things off, or like go into, oh well, I'll just go on a walk first, or I'll just numb out a little. I'll watch another TV show first, or right? What is your kind of go-to habit that you get into when we go into kind of that contraction mode? And what happens is usually we pop out of our body, or we pop into our headspace and we go into strategy mode or into one of those ways that we numb out, and we find a way to disconnect. And so that is the place that we don't get things done, because that is the place where we disconnect from our higher self. And so we have to be sitting back and down in our bodies, connected to our bodies, in order to start connecting to our higher self. So we need to be more in receiving mode in order to connect. And when you're not in receiving mode and you're just in like the strategy mode, you are disconnected. I guarantee you are disconnected from your ability to receive more ease. So I'm going to read really quick. Mondi, fear in the solar plexus, and oh yes, numb out. Procrastinate, yes. Out of body, yes. If anybody agrees with Mondi, give her a high five, because I totally do that too. Danielle, fear of starting a new business or a blog because I won't have great content, or fear no one is caring. Yes, like this fear of that we don't know enough yet, or all of these safe problems that we create. And as soon as we do that, we disconnect from our higher self, and then we lose access to the creativity and the flow that is available to us every single second. So I want to give you a practice today that's going to help you start connecting into your body. And because we need to open that channel, because as soon as we start to numb out, we kink the hose and we disconnect from the channel of flow. Totally, Mondi. We disconnect from the flow. And so we need to keep that channel open as much as possible. And notice when we're doing something that is taking us out of that channel, because the degree to which we have the ability to receive is the degree to which you stay connected to your body and in your body and out of just the headspace that's crazy making, out of the ego place. So wherever you are, depending on where you are, if you are somewhere where you can close your eyes, I encourage you and invite you to close your eyes. If you are driving and listening to this, please don't do that. You can always come back to this as well and do it when you're not driving, but if you are, just allow yourself to still start grounding, becoming more present with yourself. And imagining that you are the receiver. You are this receiving channel to whatever you desire. And if that channel is kinked, if it is not flowing, then you are cutting yourself off to the abundance and the creativity and the love and the joy that is yours. That you absolutely can write the blog and call in those people. Because you are you, Danielle. You are amazing. And each one of us the same way. But when we are out of body and cut ourselves off, then we are not being our full self and we are dimming the light within. So I want you to just imagine slowly allowing all of that energy and attention that you have, like sucking it into the center point of your head. The center point of your mind. And this is the center point of your awareness. And there is a difference between the static in the mind, like your thinking and the ego part of your mind, and just the stillness in the center point of your mind that you use for awareness. Noticing what your sensations are, noticing if you're present or not present. But it is the calm place in the center point of your mind. And just allowing yourself to even breathe through that center point in your mind. And as you do that, feeling the static slowly drift away. And your ability to just receive information without assessing and judging, but just taking in the information. And then allowing your energy and attention to slowly drop through your face and down through your throat and into the center point of your heart space. You can even put a hand there if it would feel good just to have your hand on your heart, moving into the center point of your heart space. The center point for forgiveness, for acceptance, for love. Breathing in through that space. And this is the place of non-resistance. So if we can just forgive and allow and accept, there is no resistance. If we can accept our gifts, accept our brilliance, accept our brightness, forgive anyone that has hurt you, forgive yourself for any mistakes, so to speak, that you have made, then that space just starts expanding. And then we start really accessing our higher self, being able to hear that, being able to hear the guides. But when that channel is fuzzy and blocked, it's very hard to hear. And then allowing your energy and attention to drop down through your belly and into the center point of your pelvis, a few inches below your navel and back towards your spine. You can place your hand there if that feels good. And this is where your life force lives, especially your feminine essence. And we often cut ourselves off. So feeling the energy and aliveness there. And it's not about doing more or giving more. It is actually about receiving and feeling your own life force, your own magnificence, your own juiciness, versus always giving, but allowing yourself to receive. So just feeling all three of those points, feeling that open channel in your vertical core. And this is how you receive moment by moment, how you live in this present moment versus strategizing or thinking about the future or projecting into the future, but how you live moment to moment so that you can hear and receive guidance and not have to do everything by yourself. So just one more breath through all three of those points, inhaling through all three of those points, and then exhaling through all three of those points. And so as you're coming back, seeing as you open your eyes, can you still hold that open channel? Do you feel more available or less available from that place? When you open your eyes, what does it feel like? Does it feel more bright or more dim? Bright. Mm-hmm. Like often your vision even changes when you start opening that channel. What you see, like your vision expands. All of your senses expand from that place. And so drop in the comments what it was like for you to start opening up that channel and start connecting. To stop, cutting off from the neck down, which we often do. And to sit a little bit more back in your body, inside of your body versus being way up here. And as you are dropping those in the comments, I'm going to turn it over to Tracy to let her share the next piece of this.
I feel so fortunate that I got to experience that first, because I feel even more ready and juicy and able to share from such a good, grounded place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now that we've gotten really grounded and connected to our energy forces inside of our body, I want to talk to you about what do we do with that energy? When we have things that we want to share with the world, when we are talking to somebody else, when we're expressing that we feel a certain way, whether it's I'm feeling loving or I'm feeling excited or if I'm upset, There's ways to work with energy once it's in you, and then it's going to be expressed outward. That energy expression is really important on the giving end and on the receiving end. So if you can imagine you're talking to somebody, and let's say they say, I love you, or I love you. The way that feels is really different. The words were the same, but the energy behind the words was very, very different. In the first way, I said, I love you, and I was in my heart. In the second way, I said, I love you, and I was in my head. And I wasn't in that center core place of my head. I was in more of like my doubting place in my head, or my fear place in my head. And so when you're receiving something from someone else, you can often feel what's behind it, what the energy or the message is behind it. And that also is true if someone's expressing something to you that's more negative, or if there's a conflict. You can express anger in a way where you're just stating how you feel, or you can express anger in a way when you're sending anger. Like if you imagine like a bow and arrow of anger and it just pierces. And that's a really important way just to experience the energy transfer between other people. Also with energy, as you're full and as you've just received, you want that to stay within you. But if you also want to share how you're feeling, you can imagine that you're radiating it versus sending it. And especially for people who do work with others, therapists, massage therapists, shamanic practitioners, any teachers, anytime you're transmitting information or knowledge or a part of yourself over to another, you don't want to lose yourself in the process. You don't want to deplete yourself in the process. This happens so much with women who are giving to their children or to their partners or to their friends. It certainly can happen with men too, but it definitely is more of a theme with women than with men. And so if you imagine the sun, or if you imagine a candle, there's that center core of light that's burning so bright, or a star. You know, the sun and the stars, they're so far away, but still we can feel their light because they're radiating. That center core of light stays really strong and really bright, and even as their light is spreading out, that center core is just as strong and bright. Versus if I send my power, or I send my energy, or I send my light somewhere else, there is a difference. So let's experience this now for yourself. And so close your eyes. Just take a few deep breaths to connect. And then imagine you have a light inside yourself, a beautiful light. For you, it might be a star, it might be the sun, it might be a candle, just whatever shows up for you is good. We'll go with that. And then first we'll practice radiating our light. So just imagine that center ball of light is just shining and radiating and sharing. It's just coming out of you. And as that happens, you still feel just as strong of a connection with that light inside yourself. So just take a deep breath there and just notice how that feels. And now we'll just say, okay, cancel clear. We're going to let that go. Starting over, breathing into just those 3 energetic points inside yourself, letting the light go. And now imagine you have a light inside yourself. And this time, to share it, you're going to just see it go. You're going to see that light jump to another, which could be an event or a person or a situation. You just imagine your light going boop. And how do you feel inside now? You probably don't feel the presence of that light, that brightness, that energy, that joy, as much as you did with the first. So that's how you also can manage your energy in the world with others when we're interacting, because we are here to interact. We're not here to stay closed and protect and hide everything we have inside. We're here to be able to stay full and to radiate and share with our world and with our people so they can experience our light. And
I love that. I have not done that before. And that is such a visceral experience of what I feel like I definitely do sometimes, and definitely most of the clients I would say that I work with, women that I work with, that we just are like, oh, we'll just give it. If we just give it away, that just that fills me up. It brings me so much joy, and yet we're not hanging on to our own self. We're just like, oh, I'll just make everybody else happy, and then I'll come back to myself later. I'll take a bath one of these days, or I'll go get a massage one of these days, or and we just are giving it all away. Wow, that was really cool.
And so giving is wonderful. I love to give and I love to receive other people's gifts, but we don't have to deplete ourselves in the process. And that's the real big point here. It's not to give less unless you're giving too much, but it's to give in a way that you stay full. And imagine if someone's giving to you and you know when they're giving to you that they're depleting yourself, you might feel guilty. You might not feel as good receiving that. So when we give to others, we also, for their own sake as well, we want them to know, this is good for me. This is not hurting me at all. So that's something you can practice. And these things we're teaching you, they are practices. And so if you go out later on today and you realize, oh, I just gave more of myself than I really should have. I feel depleted. It's okay. You noticed it. That's good. I've been taught so many things by my spirit guides. Like, pretty much everything I'm sharing with you I've learned from my spirit guides or from my shamanic teachers. Sandra Ingerman, thank you. Love you. So these are practices, and you just keep going, and hopefully you won't feel any kind of guilt or regret or anything if you've done this in the past, if you realize this is a huge pattern of yours. The noticing is a really beautiful opportunity where you then get to turn back in. So that was something that Spirit showed me. Sometimes I would be hard on myself if I'm like, wow, I'm not getting it. I did it again and again and again. And I'm like, what's up? Why am I not more aware or conscious? Or why am I not getting this quicker? And I'm like pushing myself to be there. Well, that actually slows me down because it drains my energy. But when I notice that I did it, or if you're meditating and you notice your mind is monkey minding, then you have the opportunity to turn back in and to choose to come back. And that choice that you make is a good, beautiful thing. That choice is really, really important. So there is another practice. I want to check in with time. Should we do the true self practice now?
Sure.
Okay. So this is one of my absolute favorite things to do with people. And there's these practices that are for anyone to do, whether they do shamanic journey or not. And then there's things that we do only with shamanic journeying. So at our retreat, I'll be teaching very, very early in the beginning of the retreat, how do we journey to connect with our guides in that way. But this one is more like a guided meditation where you're going to go inside and connect with your true self. So this is the true self meditation. So again, close your eyes and get comfy. Take some deep breaths, connecting with your core. And now see yourself, keeping your eyes closed, see yourself in a beautiful place in nature. And whatever pops up, that's your place. You may see a familiar place that you've been to, and maybe completely new. And we're inviting in our power place. In this beautiful place of nature, you're completely safe. There may be animals there, probably plenty of nature, lots of trees, flowers, maybe some mountains, maybe the ocean or a stream. But you're there without other humans. So just connect with this place. We're going to ground here. So with your eyes closed, in your beautiful place of nature, start to look around. Look in every direction, including behind yourself and above yourself and on the ground. And take a few deep breaths in your place. See yourself breathing in the energy there to connect with that energy there. And notice how your body feels. Do you feel a sense of familiarity or safety or beauty or aliveness? Can you smell anything in your place or hear anything in your place? And what about the temperature? Do you feel like it's a warm place, or is it cool, or is it windy? Is there any wet? Are you standing in a creek bed? Now just be in your place, just taking a few more deep breaths, feeling yourself there. And now we're going to invite in your true self. So your true self is the part of you that's always aligned, that always knows, that's always connected to your power and to the power of the Creator, the source of life. And that's in this state of wellness and radiance and perfection and divine beauty all the time. And whether you feel it or not, that part of you is always there. Part of connecting is that part of you becoming brighter and stronger and filling you up more and more as you continue to connect with your true self. So now we're going to invite your true self in to your power place. You can see her or him walking to you. And as she approaches, look at her and notice, what does that true self look like? Physically and energetically. What's the quality of that true self of yours? We're inviting her closer and closer to you, standing face to face. And now say hello. Thank you for being here, and ask if she has a message to share with you. Receive the message. Breathe it in. Say thank you. And when that's complete, you will step into each other. You will merge. You will see each of you become one. And feel, what is it like to be fuller of your true self energy? Take some more deep breaths in, filling up with your true self. And know that this true self meditation is always available. You can listen to it over and over again if you want to be led into it, or you can see it happening on your own, leading yourself there. You can start to flutter open your eyes, and if you'd like to let us know the message you received from your true self, or how you feel after you merged, or after you saw your true self, what was that like? Please leave it in the comments. We would love to hear. Thank you.
I love this because I'm getting to do all kinds of new practices that I haven't done before meeting Tracy. And I loved the idea of just it merging with me, that it's always inside, but having that reflection first and then having her walk into me, and I received the message that I am you. I am you. Which just felt super comforting and not in my mind, but like a visceral feeling.
So Jenny shared her message. There is sensuality and alignment in all things, both light and dark. That's a very, very important teaching, especially when we think about how we can resist the dark. but there's sensuality and alignment in all of it. Sorry, I cut you off.
No,
so
it's totally
excited.
fine. No, it's fine.
Oh, good.
I was fine. I was finished. I was finished.
Danielle, you are powerful beyond what you know. Yeah, totally.
Love it.
I'll just share something real quick. I did this awesome practice of mediumship where I invited my guide in, which one of my guides is light. And so when you're a medium, you're really, really full, like basically overtaken with the energy of your guide, but you're okay with it. You invite it in. So in that process, I was sharing with the group what Light wanted to say. Light was actually speaking through me. And all Light would say, people were asking questions, and all Light kept saying is, you are all so much bigger than you realize. That's all she said the entire time. And it really reminds me of what you shared, Danielle. You are powerful beyond what you know.
Awesome. And also just like as you're doing those practices, it doesn't take much to connect. Like I think that oftentimes we think we have to be a psychic or gifted or a certain kind of person to start hearing these messages come through, messages that might surprise you or that you don't even know. And if we can just open that channel, and as you can see, it didn't take long probably for you to even open that channel. It's just remembering to do it, remembering to come back to yourself, that those messages are so available all the time, that voice is never on vacation or doesn't have, office hours. It's available all the time. It just takes dropping out of our head and really dropping into our heart and our pelvis and into the body and really anchoring ourselves home in that place. So I would love to hear more messages that people got as they're watching this, if you're watching the replay. And please, if there's somebody that you know that can benefit from this as well, please share this with your community, because I think this is something that we all need. Men, women, kids, anybody, we all need to have this remembering that we have access to that most powerful self anytime we want to. We just have kind of learned to stay in that place where we think we have to really will it and do it on our own versus really being in our own self. Awesome, Mandy. So I want to do one other quick thing just to give you one more sense in your body of giving and receiving, and then we'd like to share a little bit more about our retreat, just to give you the heads up that we want to share about that as well, and how you can stay connected to us and join us for even more of this if this feels good to you. But oftentimes, if you have been taught meditation, for example, oftentimes we are taught to sit back and be the witness for our meditation, or to be the witness of our lives in general. And I want to give you a visceral experience of not just witnessing, but actually being in your experience. So I want you to just imagine, like, pull your hands up in front of you and just allow yourself to just place your attention on your hands, on the outside of your hands. You're just looking at your hands. And then I want you to imagine placing your attention inside of your hands, so that you're actually experiencing the subtle energy, the movement, the flow that is happening inside of your hands, and how quickly that may change your experience, the feeling that you actually have. And drop in the comments if you notice a difference by just like putting your attention on these are my hands versus actually being inside of your hands. And what do you notice?
Yeah, so when I went inside, I started seeing like the blood flow and like some of the more internal things happening in my hands. And it was right before you said about the flow. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. Like I really feel the aliveness of my hands.
Yes. Yeah, me too. Like I instantly feel like the movement, like tingling almost in my hands. Vibration. Yep. So just notice a difference, and then go do that with your heart space. So again, just place your attention on your heart, like this is my heart. And then go inside of your heart. And experience the inside space of your heart. And just notice the difference, witnessing versus experiencing. And how this actually increases your ability to be receptive. When you are in your experience, when you're attuning to your experience versus watching on the outside. And many of us are just watching our lives on the outside. And that feels very out of our own power. It feels out of control. And it doesn't allow you to be in the moment because you're kind of projecting into the future. You're waiting for the next thing to happen versus being in your experience in the moment. Is this making sense, Jenny? Yes. Mondi was tingling. Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's such an easy switch to go from just watching to literally putting yourself in your own experience and really putting yourself into that receptive mode. And now I want to give you a sensation of, and this is going to be similar to what she was talking about and what Tracy was talking about in terms of the radiating versus the sending. So even just hold your hands up now, and instead of being in receiving mode, imagine your hands giving. Like you're just in giving mode. You're sending energy out with your hands versus being in your hands, receiving. And so this isn't about either or, because we all like giving. It feels good to give. But sometimes we cut off the other aspect of that. The other side of the coin is that we have to be in receiving mode in order to receive the abundance, in order to receive the clients, in order to receive the love. We can't just be in giving mode. We have to be receiving moment by moment by moment, right? So again, even do that in your heart, just like allowing, whether your heart is just giving, feeling your heart giving, versus just sitting back and down in your heart space and allowing the receiving to take place. And they can happen simultaneously. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Mm-hmm. But there has to be the receiving end of that, or we're putting a kink in the hose.
I started seeing this figure eight happening as I'm playing with staying in my heart and in myself and in my energy, and also sharing with another person. Yeah. Like how that figure eight is such a good visualization of that happening all at once. Yeah,
I love that. So I felt my heart and that it has some clogging. I feel that I can change that. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Empowered.
And it doesn't take that much, right, Mondi? Like it's just literally just switching our attention a little bit and opening up that flow so that we're not just sending, but we also have the ability to receive. So we want to just take the opportunity to share our retreat with you, because if these practices are resonating with you, this is literally just the tip of the iceberg of really allowing you to start dropping in and opening that channel. And so on here, we're really talking about opening the channel to yourself and going into the visualizations of yourself. But when we enter a field of a retreat, into the group experience of a retreat, then just imagine sitting in a circle of women where you are experiencing what we are talking about with other people who are also desiring to experience that. And so all of us are in that receiving mode and feeling that, and you are being seen in a way that you probably haven't been seen before. that you are going to be receiving from other women in a way that you haven't been receiving. And not only that, but Tracy's going to take you into really getting to know your guides, because I think one thing as women that we often do is we desire to do everything on our own. We can do it better, we can do it faster, we can do it, and if we aren't doing it, then sometimes we feel weak, or we feel like we are out of control, or we feel like we're giving our power away, and none of that is true. That we need to have that figure eight that Tracy was talking about, that giving and receiving, in order to start cutting ourselves off from the joy and bliss and abundance that we all deserve to have in our lives. So freaking true. Yeah, Jenny. Mm-hmm. So I want you to just imagine being in, what would it be like to stop kinking the hose? What would it be like for you to start stepping into your power, start rising up in this movement, start connecting to this higher level of consciousness? And that is a hard thing to do at home by yourself. Mm-hmm. We can have the best intentions to desire to do that, and it's very hard to do not in community, because we can easily step back and hide in our habits and our patterns when we are not being seen by other people and are allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and allowing others to shine a light on our blind spots that we can't see when we're sitting home on our couch or standing in front of the refrigerator, avoiding doing something and eating something that we don't really want to just because we don't want to go do it. The procrastination piece that Mondi was talking about. So Tracy and I really want to invite you to join us in Sedona. We are so excited about it. I can hardly stand it, and the closer it gets, the more excited, and the energy is building. And Tracy has been journeying to the land, and I'm going to let her share what the land has been sharing with her about the retreat and how they want to support us at the retreat. But also, this is going to be 4 days of a way for you to disconnect from your life and from your habits, and to really be present with yourself and start really getting in tune with what it feels like to be in that flow most of the time, to be connected and consistent, and start practicing these on a regular basis in a group of women that want to be in a higher level of consciousness together. So I'll let Tracy share about what the land has been sharing with her.
Yeah, so before going somewhere on a retreat or on a trip or moving, it's really kind and considerate, and it's a good practice to connect with that place first. It's kind of like, if someone, you wouldn't just show up at someone's house and expect to be well received. They might be available at that time, but they might not. Or going to a party you weren't invited to. So same way, it's courtesy with the land and with the spirits of the land and all the life that's there, to ask for permission to come. And I can tell you, you won't be denied. It's not about that. It's really about just extending that consideration. So I started journeying to Angel Valley in Sedona to ask if we can come, and they were like, yeah, that's why we're here. The spirits there, they want us to come on retreat. And so they started telling me, we want to help to activate your ladies. And we know, Carrie and I both felt into that we really want to help with the connection people are feeling with themselves. And the spirits of the land, they also have their agenda for us. They want to activate us. That was what they told me the first time that I journeyed there. And then another time they said they want to help light our spark. We all have it. We just got to light that spark and enjoy it. And then I was asking, okay, well, how are you going to help activate, and how are you going to help that spark to light up? And they said, and they showed me this, I experienced this. So I was laying down and I was journeying, and I just saw all these things being shown to me, like in my awareness, just popping in the way it often does when you're meditating or journeying and you have this insight or this epiphany or this download. It just kind of like, boop, pops in. And it was showing me this habit or this belief or this thought or this regret that were in my way, that were in my energy field, creating those kinks. And so when we have those kinks, there's usually a reason why. And when we identify them, we can help to release them. But there's other ways also, just with practices of seeing it opening up, even without knowing what it's from, that also works. There's so many awesome ways to help our flow continue to flow. But that was one way. They showed me the things, and they showed it then flying away, like really, really quick, one after another. And they said, we're really good at helping people become more aware of what is in their way, what they're holding on to that they don't even know about, and then helping to release it. And then after that, people experience more of their own bliss. And bliss, I was told, stands for, like, if you just think about, like, what is bliss? You know, we've heard the word, it's a wonderful experience, but like, if we're going to define it, like, what is it? And so my guides shared this acronym with me, that bliss is beautifully living inside self. So being in yourself, being in your own skin, and being being there in a beautiful way. So that is what the spirits of the land want to do for us, and I'm very excited to receive that. And so the last thing I asked them on another
Mandy.
journey was, what can we do for you? We're very thankful. How can I express gratitude for you receiving us and helping activate us and spark and bliss us out? And the Spirit said, all we want is your open hearts, just to come here with love. That's what we want. That's why we're here. So that's what we're going to be cultivating as well throughout the retreat, weaving in love with everything and giving lots of gratitude to the spirits of the land.
So we hope that you will consider coming to join us if you are really ready to get to this higher level of consciousness and be able to hold it. Not just when you're sitting on your couch watching TV or sitting on the beach on vacation, but when the shit is hitting the fan, like when life is hard, which is often, right? Like we go through challenging things, we go through stressful things on a regular basis. So how do you still keep that flow open and stay really grounded? Because it is your soul that has that overview picture that can help you keep on your path and keep journeying in the right direction. And instead of getting like sidetracked and overwhelmed, which is so easy when we're just living in our head and trying to figure out the next step or the next thing. It doesn't work as well as if we're really listening. And that is how I met Tracy, was listening. It wasn't trying to figure something out. It was just that I was following the divine breadcrumbs, so to speak, and she just landed in my path. And then I kept listening, and my guide said, ask her to come on your retreat. And so I asked, and she wasn't actually available, and she changed her whole plans because her guides had been telling her to accept any invitation that she was to receive in February, and it was the very end of February that I asked her. So it was like when that happens, then you're just more in the flow and more in the ease and less striving and driving and trying to figure shit out. That's what's so overwhelming and so stressful in our lives. But if we can sit back in our bodies and start allowing and receiving, the doors just really begin to open. And I've been having this experience more and more as I have in my own self been practicing this more and more. So I have lots of stories just in my own life now that this is not bullshit. This is working. It is available to everybody. And so the retreat starts on May 9th. It goes from May 9th to May 12th. It is over Mother's Day because we want you all mothering yourselves, your soul. And so most people, you can either drive there, you can fly into Phoenix, and then there is a direct shuttle from the airport to Angel Valley. And we will be spending time doing practices like this. We will be we will go on cool hikes. We will be swimming. There's an amazing stream that runs through there.
We're going to do a journey in the water.
Yes, we're going to do, hopefully the water will be warm enough.
Even if your toe is in the water, it's fine.
And there will also just be space. We will not be filling every moment with things for you to be doing, because that's what we do in our lives. We will be giving you space also just to go on a walk or go hang out with yourself or get to know some of the other incredible women that are coming. We have some amazing. Mondi's on here. She's coming. Who else is on here that's coming? So there are some incredible souls that are being drawn to this, as that is not surprising. So if you have any questions for us specifically, more about the retreat, we hope that you come. It's $12.99. That includes food and lodging, so you just have to get your body there, and otherwise everything else is included. And it will be an opportunity just to connect more deeply with yourself and to really start learning how to connect with your guides, so that you are in a community not only of human physical beings, but also your own community of team support that you have access to all the time.
Someone asked me recently, like, what's a typical day going to be like? So I'll share that with you. So we're going to wake up and we're going to do yoga and meditation, and then we're going to have breakfast, and then we're going to do an Art of Feminine Presence practice and a shamanic practice, and there'll be a break in between the two, and then we're going to have lunch, and there's a break right before lunch. After lunch, there's a much longer break where you can rest or do whatever you feel like doing. And then between lunch and dinner, there's an Art of Feminine Presence practice, another break, and then a shamanic practice, and then a break before dinner. And then after dinner, I'll just give you a little snapshot of something I'm super excited about. We're going to have evening things that are more like rituals. So one of the nights we're going to be outside and we're going to dance with the stars, and I'm going to teach you how to connect with the stars more shamanically. And so you'll be dancing in that way. It's just incredibly beautiful and bright. And then also another thing we're going to do that I'm really excited about is we're going to do a sleepy time journey. So a journey to help lead you into like a really nice restful sleep.
And a practice that you can take home, because sometimes we go in, that sleep time is really important. That is an awesome time that we can access and use for manifesting and creating more abundance in our life. And if you have a practice before you go to bed that actually calls in your guides and calls in support in your dreams, then you're actually using that beautiful time in when you're in that sleep state to create the things that you want to as well. So we are so excited about it. I can't even tell you. And I feel so blessed and grateful to have met Tracy, and that she will be co-facilitating. As you can see it, we are a good team together. So we are looking forward to it. Let us know if you have any questions. I will put the link to sign up, but feel free. Like, if you're even just sitting on the fence or have questions, if this is for you, or do you need prior experience? You don't. But please reach out to one of us and just have a conversation so that we can let you know. I'll be really honest if I don't think if it's for you or not. And I think that's it. But we will be on here again tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, for about the same amount of time, about an hour, giving you some more practices and just giving you kind of a small taste. This is only a little bit of an essence of what we will be doing on the retreat. So there is so much more depth that we will be sharing and giving to you, so that the change that you're wanting really sticks, and it's not just one more thing or one more try, but something that you can really take and embody and take home with you. So let us know if you have any questions, and please feel free to share this with people that you may think need to hear this message as well. So I hope you all have an awesome day. Take care.
Yep. Be well.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.